I'm going to be showing you the exact systems and essentially everything we use when we work with a waterproofing company and exactly how we're able to get them 10 to 20 estimates per month for the small businesses, 30 estimates per month for the medium businesses, and 50 to 100 estimates per month for the relatively large, multi 7, 8 figure waterproofing companies that we work with, and how we're able to make them an extra 50, 100, even $150,000 a month in revenue with these systems, and how we're able to scale it up, make it very consistent, and have 100% confidence in what we're implementing to know we're going to get them results we promise. And so I'm going to show you everything here. So I'm going to take you through, firstly, as you can see on my screen here, the initial 10-day period where we're building everything for the client, what that looks like. We're setting up all the systems, getting the ads ready, just building everything we need to be able to get them those appointments, those estimates booked in. And then I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like after we launch the ads and how we actually book these estimates in. So first things first here, as you can see, the very beginning stage here is the very, very first step. So after we close a business, right, they pay, they sign our agreement, they're ready to go. They're now officially a client. We send them an onboarding form. So this onboarding form is very important. This is step one of everything. And so there's not much work that the client actually has to do, but they do need to do this onboarding form. And you'll see here the onboarding call. And so on the onboarding form, this is just a very extensive form where we're gathering all the information we need from the business to be able to get everything we need to build everything that we need to have set up. And so this is a lot of stuff about the business, the service I want us to advertise, and just specific, personal business information that we need for the ads and everything like that, before and after transformations, pictures, just whatever they have. It's a very extensive form. Usually takes about 20, 30 minutes to fill out. And then when they submit that form, they will then be going to book a onboarding call. And so this onboarding call, they'll usually book it for the next day or later that day or in 2 days or so. And then after they schedule that onboarding call, they will be sent to watch a quick welcome video, which is literally just me walking through this exact chart here, this exact Miro board, so they know exactly what to expect over the next, 9, 10 days working with us, since this is when the bulk of stuff is happening, right? After this, it's a lot easier. We're just, the main thing after this 10-day period is just booking the estimates. And so what do we do here now? So we get them inside of our Slack. We use Slack to communicate with all of our clients, and we have two channels. One channel is just for back and forth communication with the business and us and our company, and the other channel is called estimate notifications. So this is where every time a new estimate is booked, canceled, or rescheduled, they are notified inside of that Slack channel with the lead or the prospect's name, email, phone number, the service they booked for, their address, and then additional notes on the prospect itself. And then we have the onboarding call. And so on this onboarding call, right, because with the onboarding form, we got a lot of the information that we need. But now on the onboarding call, we're making sure we're getting access to their meta assets, their Facebook page, their Instagram page, their ad accounts, just everything we need to actually run the ads in the Meta Business Suite in general. We're going to be going over the onboarding form, reviewing everything they submitted on the onboarding form, making sure it's accurate because people can make mistakes on it if they're moving quickly. It's not unheard of. And so we go through everything on that, make sure everything is good on the onboarding form, and then we connect the necessary assets inside of Go High Level. We're setting them up with a calendar, all this type of stuff to make sure they're fully prepared and understand exactly what everything's going to look like. Now, after that onboarding call, that's it. That's everything that the client needs to do. We take care of everything from this point onwards. And so now we are building at the CRM. And when I say building at the CRM, we're building a ton of stuff. And this usually encompasses about the next week or so. So look, this is a very ground level overview. There's a lot more stuff that we do inside of here, but it's just, this video doesn't need to be an hour long. And so inside of here, the first things we're setting up is the automations. And so as you can see, we're talking follow-up automations, reminder automations, booking automations. Those are the main ones. There's probably around 80 to 100 automations inside of here. I'm not going to go over all of them, but it's a lot of stuff to make our life easier. Some of those being every time an estimate's booked, we notify the company inside of Slack to let them know, hey, this person booked for this date, this job, et cetera, et cetera. That's an example. We have other automations because we're also using an AI bot to message a lot of these leads and make sure that we're, vetting them. They're high quality, they're high intent people that actually have issues they need solved. So there's a good chance of closing on the estimate, because usually, let's say most of the companies that we work with, they typically have a 35% close rate. That's pretty standard. So if they take, 100 estimates, they're closing 35 of them on paying jobs. But with the estimates that we book, because we're qualifying them so thoroughly, the close rate is almost always higher from the estimates that we book versus the normal close rate. So if they're closing like a 35% close rate, we can expect that they're going to be sitting at like a 45% close rate from the estimates we book probably. Some businesses we work with, they close like 70%, and then we expect they'll be, okay, probably 70, 80% with the estimates we book, because we book very high quality estimates. Now, when all that's set up, the calendars, the sequences, everything inside of there, we get to creating the ad campaigns. So when we're creating the ad campaigns, this is where we're setting up all the different ads that we're running, right? And so we're probably going to be building 15 to 20 different ad creatives at least. We have a lot of proven ones that work very, very well, but it does vary from state to state, city to city, and we work with businesses in US and Canada. So we're testing a ton of different ads, because let's say an ad that performs amazing in like Montreal, Canada, might not perform amazing in like Las Vegas, Nevada, right? And so we're testing it a ton of different ones. But we do know some, we already have some that we know work well. We just want to see which ones perform best in each given location. Then we'll optimize them, scale them up, and do the same thing with the ad copy. We'll test a bunch of different ad copy, a bunch of different headlines, see what performs best, and then optimize those winners. And so That's how we're able to make sure we get good results with the ads. We'll also be setting up a booking funnel. And so, what the booking funnel looks like here, I'll actually show you an example of one of our client booking funnels. And so, let me grab this link here. So, what this looks like is this, for example, this is one of our active clients funnels. And so when they click the ad, they get brought to here, fill out the form, and then they can book a call. And so it's very, very straightforward. And so after this, which I'll show you more in a second here, but they get sent to a calendar to book the call. And so I'll show you more of this a little bit after, because we don't need to talk about that fully right now. And I'll go through all of that, the process, the funnel, what all of that looks like in a minute here. But now, to continue with this here, we build the funnel and we create the scripts because we have AI texting these leads to book them in. And it's the same AI we use in our company. A lot of our leads, a lot of people are hesitant with AI, but when I speak to them, I'm like, hey, the person you're actually speaking to on our team was actually AI. Then they start to come around because this AI does so well for booking these estimates, and we use it to book our appointments as well. And so if you end up booking a call with us, you are probably speaking to an AI if you go through, and you're messaging us. And we also use humans, of course, to call these leads, book them in, vet them, make sure they're high quality, high intent, and actually ready to buy. Because you don't want somebody who's just not a serious person, right? We need people who are like actively, hey, I have a leak here, I need this fixed. Hey, my crawl space, I need this waterproof ASAP. Hey, my drain is destroyed, I need this fixed immediately. Like, we need those types of high intent people. And then we prepare for the launch, getting everything ready to launch the ads. Then we have a final launch call with the client to make sure they're fully ready to go. We show them everything that we have set up, and then we launch the ads, and the leads start coming through that same day. And ideally, inspections or estimates start coming through within the first day, next couple of days, depending on how much ad spend we're running. But that's what we recommend. And so typically, though, just to give you an idea of what the ad spend is, so for us to get you 10 to 20, or for us to get our clients, for example, 10 to 20 booked estimates per month, it requires $3,000 in ad spend, so $100 a day. And so typically, what that looks like is we will have, let me pull up a text box right here. So for 10 to 20, this is what we typically see. It'll be 3K in ad spend. So $100 a day in ad spend. And so that's over the course of the month, right? So that's not like all paid at once. That's over the course of the month. And typically what that results in is 10 to 20 inspections, right? So let's say they're closing at a 35% close rate, for example, which is pretty standard. They'll be getting 4 to 7 jobs per month from those inspections, right? Or from those estimates. Typically what we see, it's about 8 to 10K per job, right? 8 to 10K per job. That's usually pretty much the average for the clients that we work with. And they're usually profiting about half of that. So their profit would be 4K to 5K per job. And so they're doing 4 to 7 of those per month. So 4 times 8, right? They're looking at 32K top line to 7 times 10, which is 70K, right? So that's what we're looking at on the top line side of things. And then in terms of profit, it's just half that, right? So 16K to 35K. And that's typically what we see across the board with the businesses that we work with, right? And so this is pretty standard numbers. These are almost exactly what we see. Of course, it fluctuates a little bit. That's typically what we see. And then if you subtract the 3K ad spend and then our cost, which is 2K service fee for us to be doing all this, you're looking at profit after everything, 11K to 30K profit. And this is on our lowest plan, by the way. Like, this is our lowest package, because then if I copy this and then paste this over here, let's say we're talking about the plan that we run for the large companies, right? I'm talking 50 inspections now. So this is minimum 50 estimates booked per month. And so for this, it's 9K in ad spend. And so this is usually only the multi 7-figure, 8-figure companies are going to be, spending this much on ads, but that's 50 inspections, right? And so if you have a 35% close rate, that's 15 jobs, right? And so 35% close rate, or actually it's 17 jobs, sorry. So 17 jobs per month. And so that's the low side, right? And so just for easy math, I'm going to do 15 to 20, just for easy math here. And so let's say it's the 10K, which is pretty standard for these jobs. You're profiting 5K. Then we're looking at, if it's 15 to 20K, right? Like, you can do this math. It's 150K to 200K top line revenue. And if you're profiting half of that, we're looking at 75K to 100K profit, right? Profit. And so our cost to do all this, right? You have the 9K ad spend, and then we charge 5K a month, so 14K. So you'd be looking at, after all said and done, 61K to 86K profit. That's in your pocket. And so, like, you can see here, and we guarantee that, or you get a refund, right? And so this is how we operate. This is how we're able to get our clients such good results, because these are what the numbers look like. This is the results that we get for the clients we work with. And so let me show you actually exactly how we do that in more detail here with these systems. So Now that we're over here, I'll show you exactly what this looks like. So we have a couple ads, right? These are two examples of ads that we ran for crawl space waterproofing specific. So let me see here. We create a bunch of different ads, but this was for a crawl space job. Let me see if this will load here so I can play you this ad. Looks like it's freezing up. What about this one? Okay, here we go.
Floors sagging, musty smells. Your crawl space is screaming for help. We fix it fast. Click the Get Quote Now button to get a quote today.
So as you can see, that's an 8-second ad. Very short, straight to the point. This is what we do. And then there's also one here. This one does a little bit better because it has
small cracks,
text at the bottom.
musty smells. It only gets worse. Get a free crawl space inspection today by clicking the button below.
See, very straightforward. These ads actually crush it. These do very, very well. We have tons of different variations like that. So they go from the ad, right? They click the ad and they get sent to a lead form, whether it's a Facebook lead form where they fill it directly in Facebook. We do both. Or we send them to a funnel like I showed you a second ago here with these guys. And so if we send them to a funnel, which is like this right here, right? This is a live funnel that we're running right now for a client. Then they get here, request your estimate. They fill out their information here and they book a call. And so the thing is with this here is you're going to have a percentage of leads that book right away. And so what that looks like when they book right away is, let me go to the link here, is they get sent after they fill out that lead form, they get sent to the calendar where they can just book their estimate right away, or they can call in and book their estimate right away. And so they can schedule a time right here with the company to get their estimate, right? And so this is what one of the funnel looks like. And so this does very, very well, but not every lead is going to fill this out, right? You might get 10 to 20%, maybe 5 to 20% of leads will book straight from the funnel like that. Most of them are going to fill out the form, and then you're going to need to message them or call them and book them in. And so that's where we have follow-ups coming through text, email sometimes, and calls to make sure that we're getting these guys good results. And this is how we're able to convert a good amount of these leads, because at the end of the day, 85 to 90% of the estimates that are booked are going to be through the follow-ups, through text calls, that, etc. And so let me show you with stats here why these follow-ups are actually so important. Because look, from the initial contact, right? If your first contact with the lead is at the 5-minute mark versus the 30-minute mark, there's 100 times decrease that you're going to get in contact with that lead at the 30-minute mark versus the 5-minute mark. Like that's such a crazy, not 100%, 100 times decrease, 100x, which is crazy. The stat almost, it's crazy how wild this is because it's a huge difference. That's why you always need to be calling these leads immediately, which is why we have people on standby to do so. And in terms, or alongside the contact rate dropping 100x, the qualification rate drops 21x, especially with home service. Because if somebody's a leaky basement or a crawl space or something, or like a drainage is flooding or whatever, something serious like that, they're not just going to be opting into the ad we're running for like the company, right? They're going to be opting into all the ads they see because they need this fixed ASAP. So who are they going to go with? The company that reaches out to them first, which is why we call them within the first 60 seconds every single time they come through. So the highest qualification rate and the highest contact rate. And look at this here, because you're also going to have a good percentage of leads that just don't answer on the first call through, right? That's also a big thing, right? Is people don't answer. People have families, they have spouses, they have kids, they have work, they have other obligations, hobbies and stuff, right? That take up their time as well. So, which is why it's so important to continue following up these leads, even if they don't answer the first time. As you can see here, the cumulative increase in the chance you actually contact this lead from the first call all the way to the 10th call goes from 42% on the first call. This is also granted that it's within the first 5 minutes to the 10th call, it almost doubles, right? We're almost at 80% chance that you'll get in contact with the lead over the course of 10 follow-ups. And so we do a ton of follow-ups, which I'll show you here, because we want to make sure that we're getting all these leads, right? We don't want any leads to go to waste. So there will be some unqualified leads that come through, but we filter them out. We don't even book them in for you guys. And so here, let's say a lead comes through, right? They click the ad, they come through. The first thing is we're calling them, leaving a voicemail. They're getting text and or email. And so what is a double dial and why are they so important? Double dials are needed on every single dial made to a lead. All it is you call them once. If they don't answer, you call them again immediately. The reason you do this is because a lot of, iPhones, Samsungs, all these type of stuff have sleep modes or do not disturb, where if you call the lead or if you call them once, it doesn't even ring on their side because they do not disturb. So you have to call them again. And then on that second time, it will actually bypass the do not disturb and ring on their side. And that way they can actually see it. And so as you can see, we're calling again later that day. They're getting a text again. We're calling them again later that day and they're getting a text again. Day 2, another double dial, leave a voicemail, text and email. Again later on day 2, double dial again. Day 3, again, call, text, voicemail. Day 3 again, another double dial. Day 4, call, text, voicemail. And a lot of people will be like, hey, this is some aggressive follow-up. This is almost too much. This is extreme. Yes, it is. And this is why we're able to get such good results, because you need extreme follow-up measures if you want to convert these leads. And then as you can see, day 4 again, day 5, and then day 8, day 14, and we start to lay off a little bit, but we're still sending them follow-ups for the next 100 days, keeping them in mind, right? Keeping us top of mind, your company top of mind, and the lead's mind. And then this is what leads to us ultimately booking them in over the phone. And so this is a quick overview of what our systems look like. And again, if this is something you want us to implement into your waterproofing company or foundation repair company, we do work with both, and you want to get an extra 10 to 20 or 50 estimates booked per month, you can click the link down below, book a call with us. You'll probably be speaking to me directly. I'll get to know a bit more about your business, see if we're a good fit, and then we'll be able to see if we can work together and help you get those estimates. If you're a good fit, we will scale your company, we will get you more jobs, and you will profit working with us. So I hope we can work with you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.